stunning people. My name is Beane, and welcome to the Salt Lick Sessions. Our next artist was given a mandolin when she was 8 years old, and she's turned that instrument into a lifelong career. You're not going to want to miss her. This is Sierra Hall.
There's a train coming, you don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord.
Hey, Sierra.
Hey, Beane, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going well.
It's going great.
It's going.
It's going.
It's going. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's
yeah,
so great
you're in
to
the
be
middle
with
of
you.
oh yeah, it's great to have you.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of a 3-week run.
3 weeks, yeah.
And you carved out a little sliver of time to come to join us at the Salt Lick.
Oh my gosh, so glad. Yeah, we're here at the Freshgrass Festival taping some stuff, and we just played a bluegrass concerto, they're calling it. You know,
yes.
though I've just been kind of saying, this thing we're writing, whatever it is, but no, it's fun. So now we've got one performance out of the way, hanging with you, so this is a treat.
So I'd love to know just a little bit about your journey that brought you to this piano bench right here.
Yeah, well, I'm from Tennessee. I grew up in a little town called Byrdstown, just, as rural as they come, really, in Tennessee. 900 people, no red light, everybody knows everybody, but it's such a great part of the world to grow up in if you love acoustic music. And so I really kind of got my start hearing music in church, like singing old hymns. My mom always had a real natural singing voice and had a natural ear for singing harmonies and stuff, but was never trying to be on a stage or anything like that. Totally just through the love of music and kind of being around it. And when she and my dad got married, they built a house next door to my great aunt and great uncle. So my granny's older sister. So really, they were like a second set of grandparents to me. And every time I would walk in their house, there'd be music, and my Uncle Junior would play mandolin a little bit, guitar, fiddle, like the old time fiddle where, they don't even put it under their chin, like, like a kind of modern fiddle player or violinist is just down here, And he didn't really even know, to my memory, he didn't even really know that many chords and stuff on, say, the mandolin, but he would pick out these little tunes, or he could play songs like Wildwood Flower on the guitar. He was self-taught. And so music was always kind of part of my world, but my dad got a guitar, borrowed a guitar from Junior, and started learning to play a little bit, and would play while my brother and I would sing songs in church and stuff, and which was very casual, by the way, because a full house would be like 20 people, in such a small town. It was just like, you kids want to get up and sing a song? Sure, it's very organic. And
right,
so,
impromptu service.
Totally. And so, so that was a big part of, our kind of musical world for a while. But then once my dad kind of started getting into bluegrass again, he decided to buy a mandolin and take some lessons himself. And he had just really started learning whenever he was trying to get my brother interested in learning to play. Classic. And I was the typical annoying little sister who wanted to just be the follower of everything my brother did.
How old were you then?
I was probably about 7 around the time my dad got the mandolin, and I think I had just turned 8 when I started learning. So, it wasn't too long after that. But yeah, my brother was learning to play a few chords on the guitar, and I thought, I want to learn something too. And my granny and my great aunt and uncle that I was telling you about went in together and got me a fiddle for Christmas, but it was a full size. And, my dad had told them, make sure you get a small one, but I was tiny for an 8-year-old anyhow, so by the time I went like this, I couldn't even reach the end of it. It just wasn't going to happen. And so my dad had just been learning to play the mandolin, and for anybody that's not as familiar with the mandolin is tuned like the violin, so it's same tuning, you just have double strings. So there's 8 strings, but we kind of think of it like 4. But of course you play with a flat pick, more like a guitar player. So definitely a different thing, but left hand, all the notes, the way the instrument is laid out is the same. You just, have frets on the mandolin instead of, no frets on the fiddle. So I think his logic was to save my disappointment, because this was my Christmas present that I couldn't really get going on. He's like, well, we'll get you a smaller fiddle at some point. Like, in the meantime, why don't I just show you a tune on the mandolin, and you'll at least know where to put your fingers with the left hand. So I said, okay, and then he showed me my first tune on my mandolin, on the mandolin, and I don't know, something just clicked, I guess. I just really fell in love with it.
Do you remember what the song was?
Oh yeah, it was a song called Boil Them Cabbage Down, which is in the bluegrass world a pretty common one to learn. It's just like a little simple tune that's like da 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 da, just like a very simple melody.
The hot cross buns of bluegrass.
Exactly. So yeah, and then I just, started learning some of the kind of standard tunes that are typical things that you'd learn kind of in bluegrass, little fiddle tunes like Old Joe Clark or things that I'm sure people all around this festival, if you were to find people under a shade tree jamming, you'd hear some of those tunes, So, I just fell in love with it right away. And so then my dad, sort of put his focus more on trying to just help me learn and, taking me around to local festivals and jams. And I just really fell in love with the community as much as the music itself. The community from an early age that I was welcomed into, where I was oftentimes the only, young person, and, all these older dudes, sitting around jamming, and they'd go, sure, honey, come on in here and play, and always welcomed me, even when I barely knew 2 chords, So I learned so much that way, and just, kind of fell in love with it, and decided very early on that that's what I wanted to do with my life.
What is it about the bluegrass community that you resonated with?
It's just such a, wonderful spirit that these musicians have. And I think like the music is, half the people that are in the audience at festivals like this also play the music to some degree, whether they're trying to be on a stage or not. It seems like it's if you love the music, oftentimes you're also somebody that's like trying to play it. And so I think that for most of us, we'd be doing this. I mean, I think like any form of music really, but whether you were doing it as a career or not, you'd still be making music, whether somebody was hiring you, paying you to do it or not, you'd do it for free, So I mean, I just kind of fell in love with I think just the community and how passionate everybody is about it and how fun it is to, there's such a sense of home in this kind of music for me. And maybe it's because I grew up in that part of the world where it sort of started and everything. But yeah, I just have always really connected with just the bluegrass community, and that'll always kind of feel like home for me, I think.
Was there a moment in your career when you were like, oh my gosh, I'm supporting myself with music, this is my full-time gig?
I started so young that this is all I've ever done. And so I think I was just fortunate to get going early enough that, by the time I was kind of old enough to get out on my own, it felt like something realistically I could do. But it's funny, it was never like, I guess there's always a little bit of ego involved with like thinking, oh, I'm good enough to stand on stage and play for anybody. I'm sure we all have to have a little bit of that. But like for me, it was less about that and more about I never imagined doing anything else. So there was never really another path that I considered, because I just, from such an early age, like just always thought this is what I have to do. And so I was lucky to, meet some of my heroes and get opportunities early on that sort of made that seem possible, I guess, So I was lucky for that, and fortunate to have that. So, sometimes I still, we have long days or whatever, and you're just like crazy busy schedule. And it's like, this year's probably been the busiest year I've ever had in my life. It's just like, whoo, back full force, after
catching up,
kind of having time off the road, for the first time. And so, yeah, it's definitely one of those things that, you kind of have those days when you're starting to get, hangry or cranky about whatever, you're like sleep deprived or whatever it is, just tired. But then you stop and you think, give me a break. Like, this is ridiculous. I'm so lucky I get to do this, that I get to do the thing that I care so much about.
Yeah, well, I am so glad that you're booked. I'm so glad that you're busy. That's like all we can hope for in our industry.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I hope that you have some time to get into the studio so that we can spend our time listening to what you create.
Thanks so much, Beane. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for being here, Sierra.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
You believe in me, but I can't see what you see. How long is it gonna take me to trust myself? I've been stuck here so long, gotta find a way to move on. I gotta get on out of here. I gotta let go of this fear. Oh, I swore I'd never let it go this far. Now another year, I'm stuck here in the dark. Maybe I'm beautifully out of place, like the moon hides out in the sunlit day. When morning comes, I won't be afraid. Maybe gonna take me to trust myself.
Hey stunning people, it's Beane. Make sure to check out the Salt Lick Sessions YouTube channel and subscribe.